he worked for whoever called him. This is not impartial. This attitude does not lend itself to serving all of East Welland's schools. His position, however, does require it. Mr. Lemlin was serving a select few. The rest of us East Wellanders, parents and students and community, were not treated with the consideration or well served by our trustee. To say the least, I am disappointed. Mr. Lemlin should have stepped away from the committee if he had no intention of maintaining support and impartiality for all of us participating and served by the East Welland Accommodation Review. It was my understanding at the first meeting that we as committee members could suggest business members from the community who might be interested and impartial in serving on the ARC. It was suggested that if we had someone in mind to approach our trustee, Mr. Lemlin, with this information, and he would then be responsible for going to the business person on behalf of the committee to ask if they could participate. I know I personally recommended 2 individuals for this purpose. Neither was ever approached by Mr. Lemlin. I did forward the info regarding one business person to Linda Kartazinski, and she personally followed that up. Unfortunately, that business person was unable to participate at the time. Suddenly, after many months of meetings and deliberations and the establishment of common ground, with the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel in sight, a businessman came to a meeting. While it can be said that we appreciate the bit of time Mr. Fortier gave to the process, we as voting members felt he could not possibly vote impartially with the whole picture in mind for the community. He was not there for the establishment of the common ground, voted on and agreed upon by all of the chairs. He was not present when most of the options were put before us and considered. He had not sat through the working meetings going over the demographics, the structural site information regarding the schools. Mr. Fortier was not there when the PIC meeting occurred, and we toured all of the schools up for consideration by the committee. As a committee, we had voting members. The voting members were there for all of us, despite weather, injury and illnesses, family issues, and work conflicts. We dedicated ourselves to this process with the seriousness and sincerity that it deserved, that our children deserve. Mr. Fortier, while his input can be considered valuable and was appreciated, cannot say he was there for all the preamble that was necessary for this decision-making portion of the process. The option we ultimately agreed upon as a majority vote was based on all the information we were provided from the senior staff, the city, and the public as a whole over the course of months' work, meetings, and readings of hundreds of pages of minutes. While Mr. Fortier was there with the best of intentions, he was not there when this necessary information and the options were presented. We felt that in order to maintain our integrity as a voting committee, we needed to be there for all of it. The integrity of the vote is founded on the whole picture. As Mr. Fortier was not able to be there until February, it is impossible to say that he fully experienced the input and information that the rest of the committee had. Throughout the process, we did receive the necessary information and support required to successfully determine the best educational value for all of East Welland's children. Our senior staff were present and willing to provide us with information on request, as needed, at the working meetings and for the public at the public meetings. Throughout the process, the community had ample opportunity to voice their concerns and questions via public advertised announced meetings, as well as the parking lot on the DSPN website. We as committee members feel that we were heard. It was well demonstrated by the senior staff's willingness to adopt the common ground established by the committee and create a plan that meets all considerations requested. Ultimately, I believe that we are to be commended for our ability as a voting committee to stay on task and on target in our approach to a final recommendation. We were provided many hurdles to overcome beyond those that were ARC-related to the decision-making process, whether it be Trustee Lemlin's hidden agenda to taint the process, or Mr. Fortier's insistence that we hadn't properly considered all of our options, and really how would he know? He wasn't there. Or the disruptive behavior often solicited by Mr. Lemlin during working meetings, like note passing and whispering with the public. We as a committee did stay impartial. We did stay on task, and we focused our energies and efforts on finding the most effective option, while eliciting the least amount of change for all of East Welland's elementary student body and families. We believe that the final option presented to the trustees is our best recommendation by majority vote, and find it reassuring that the senior staff listened to us and presented the same option. On June 22nd, please know that the ARC process was fair and transparent and democratically decided upon regarding our final recommendations. I stand behind the process and the decisions we made as a whole committee. I believe this option, the one shared with the senior staff, was the best possible way to grow forward in educational value for all of East Welland's kids and their community. These kids, not just mine, all of them, were my focus throughout the entire process. Please do the same. Focus on our children and their future and the best educational value.